I was in Madrid at the time, and I was trying to make some money, and I worked in discotheques as a disc jockey. And I did quite well, and one night, this guy came up to me and said, "Look, we need somebody like you, and why don't you come to our office? We're doing a film." And the guy who actually talked to me was Duccio Tessari. And I went over there, got the job, and worked on the film for 4 or 5 weeks. It was good working, a bit difficult with Klaus Kinski because he was a bit strange at the time.
Will I have to kill you, you fool?
I remember one scene when we were holding Margaret Lee, and he just had to smash her. And Margaret Lee, cleverly enough, put her head back, but I didn't, so I got the full impact into my face.
Oh, I don't know anything about this! Oh. Jason, tell him I don't know anything about this! Oh.
Oh, we're really wasting our time, madam. She doesn't know anything.
Please! Oh, please! Oh.
Kinski didn't worry about this, he just walked away. But I met him again on Nosferatu, directed by Werner Herzog, and that was completely different. We got along very well, because it was like we were among equals. Herzog and the actors, it was just one big thing. But from Duccio Tessari, I think the second film I did then was with Julio Buch, Ernest Borgnine, Los Desperados.
It's a good one. Where did you get it?
From a fool. He says he has lots of them.
He's still here?
He left a minute ago. He was alone.
Vamos.
And I did another one with him. It was actually with Brett Halsey, who was here, which was at the time called Los Trompetas de Apocalipsis. But then it just went on and on and on, and I actually never stopped working. There's something special about Duccio Tessari. Each morning, he's a very well-dressed and elegant man, and every morning he wanted to have a fresh flower, always in his buttonhole. You see, it's quite something. He didn't start working before he had it.
You arrived just in time. If it hadn't been for you, they would have taken us by surprise.
I remember the film because we were jumping on the train, and on a moving train to jump from one carriage to the other isn't very easy actually, and particularly if I've never done it before. But it was fun. But you always got to remember, when you work on Italian films, which they were actually, the Italians very much stick together, and you don't have too much contact like you would on any other film.
What are you practicing for? Escort duty.
Well, escorting what?
A gold shipment.
You Rangers?
Yeah, we're escorting the Scotch shipment.
I don't think at the time I was in a position to hang out with Gemma, because Gemma was on another planet and I was on another planet. You see, that just didn't work. But this changed with time. You see, then later I went out quite a bit on other films with Telly Savalas. I went out with Lee Van Cleef. We became good friends. Lee Van Cleef and I worked together on 4 films, after all, and we did know each other. A friendship which I still have now with his wife, and I always go to Forest Lawn to have a quick hello when I'm here in Los Angeles. Well, Lee Van Cleef actually was a very gentle person. He was a very nice person. He was patient, and he liked his fellow actors. But I can tell you another story about Lee Van Cleef. In 1972, when we worked on the film El Condor, directed by John Guillermin.
If my mother was a whiskey cow, milk from her tits couldn't be any sweeter than that.
He had a driver who drove him to the set every day, and for the 3 months they were working. And I know as a fact that Lee, after the film was over, the driver worked for a company, and he said he gave the driver the money to buy his own taxi, to make him an independent driver. And every film he came back to Almeria, he always had then the same driver in the car, which he bought. And the production company, of course, paid for the driver to be there. It was quite a nice thing, actually. Very generous man. Yes, I wonder why, because he was a good-looking guy. He was nice, actually. And I don't understand how this could have happened. There must have been something we all don't know about. There was also another actor, Carlos Kini, but I think he disappeared. They were the two protagonists.
No.
José Luis Merino is a very efficient director. He knows how to do work fast, and he delivers on time. And he looks more like a family man than a film director. I think he is a family man. I think it's Canimeo who directed this, no? Yes. I remember that faintly, because I think there's a rape scene in the early beginning. I play the assistant sheriff, and I dragged that woman out of it's not nice to do these things.
Oh, no! Oh, help me, Father, help me! No!
Cut it out!
No! No!
Get inside! I advise you to obey us. Meaning the law.
But I met for the first time Gianni Garco, which I then again met in Germany about 12, 15 years later on the horror film. A very likable guy. This was a comedy. It was, it was fun. And I was so pleased to see him.
It's nice to know you can do one thing right.
The same thing happened to me with Franco Nero. I met him in 1977 again on film 24 Hours at Munich, which was a kind of film documentary about the attack on the Olympic Village. And he played the terrorist, one of the terrorists, and I did, with brown contact lenses and black hair, of course. They did not want any Arab actors on that film. Well, I had an agent at the time in Madrid, Butargenio, and he said, oh, there's a film, the two twin brothers, two brothers, not twin brothers, and it was me and Victor Israel. And Victor Israel and myself, we did do this 2 or 3 times. We played brothers.
I saw the sheriff come in and talk to you. Now you better take it easy. You know I can always keep your mouth shut.
The Arizona kid with 2 passports, Frank. We couldn't do anything.
We didn't have a clue it was Filipino money until we came to the set. It was only shot outside of Madrid. We're talking about Colmenar Viejo. You can recognize the stones. You know always where you are, and it was very relaxed. It was paid well, as far as I remember. Gordon Mitchell, I've met a few times afterwards. Gordon Mitchell is a lovely man, a bit like a friend. No. But I don't remember Manny Van Doren because I don't think I have anything to do with her. Well, you see, there is something about all these 1970 films, the westerns. They were done with a lead sound. because they were dubbed anyhow. We spoke in English at the time, definitely in English. But there are films where you have Spanish, Italian, French, German actors. They were co-productions, many of these, and each one spoke in his own language. And we just more or less managed to understand each other. There were even one film I remember we counted, you see. It's just unbelievable. You see, the director says, now look, you count till 7 and you're very angry. And the other one will answer you, quietly and just very, very softly. And he says, okay, now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the other one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what it is, dialogue. I thought acting was fabulous. You sit on a horse, I could count. That was my job. And you got a lot of money for it. But that changed then later. I'm still a friend of Mark Wanamaker, who's a nephew of Sam Wanamaker. I was only hired for 2 weeks, but then Sam Wanamaker decided, because of the way I look, that he needs me longer. So I stayed there for 7 weeks, and I had a great time. I met quite a few American actors. Jules Brenner was really nice. He was really good. You see, we used to move the horses in the morning. First thing we got there, we were part of Jules' gang. There were 7, like Jules and the other 6, and we had to ride a lot. We took the horses out. And when we did this, we went back to Jules' trailer, which was an enormous, like a big truck. And there was a bell outside, and we rang the bell, and he opened the door, and we ate our pancakes, which he did. Really, really fantastic. When I was in Munich to the opening of Catlow, he made a point and said, there's an actor in the audience, he should come up, I want you to introduce him to you. And he called me up, I went up to the stage, and he said, that's him. And 4 days later, I got an offer for a German Western, which was done by a German director, Harold Reinl, with Ron Ely, the Tarzan, the ex-Tarzan.
Kid, Murdoch's coming. He just left the forest.
Okay, make sure none of the townspeople tell him we're here.
It's as good as done, kid.
I never was too fussed about German Westerns. There's something wrong about it, but it was all right, you see. The good thing about there, I remember, is actually riding the first time through a river, which was quite exciting. Never done it before. But Duccio has been very, once they like an actor and they do the kind of genre again, they like to take you. The same thing then, of course, happened with Corbucci, which I think I liked very much. There's something to say about Sergio Corbucci, because in his early films, the early westerns, he was very close to the camera while the camera was going along and they're shooting, and somebody shot him in his eye, and he lost his eye. So from about 1971, he was directing with one eye only, and that's how I met him. And the first film I worked on him was La Banda de JNS, Telly Savalas, Thomas Millian, and Susan George, who was at the time quite big. And that was I liked that film. You see, I liked it.
Bounty killers, I suppose?
Bounty killers? No, not us. For you two, they're laying out $2,000.
And complete amnesty for us, too.
$2,000 only?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
But there's something to be said about all these films. Most of these westerns I did with the Italians. I have never seen a script. I think apart from the director, the cameraman, and the leading actors, they didn't have a script. Nobody else had. Because it was set in the minute. They told you what to say, what the other one had to say. Scenes were never that long, so We just said it as we went along. He's arrogant. It has to be said he's arrogant, but not in a bad way. I mean, not a nasty arrogance. You know, he was very much aware who he was, and he demanded respect, and which I think I gave him, you see. So, but I can't say, you know, there are people supposed to be very nasty. He wasn't one of them, you see.
I guess I gotta get my gun. I guess I gotta shoot someone.
What are you after? There's a poster back in town with a reward for you. Dead or alive.
What? Who? Arizona Cold. Someone put a real good price on his head?
How much?
Plenty, $1,000. We've never been so insulted in our lives.
First of all, I have to say, I saw pictures of him before he passed away, and I was shocked, because he was such a good-looking guy, actually, you see. And I liked that film, which I think was Sergio Martino who directed it. The part I had in the opening was good, and I worked with Eduardo Calvo, I think, there, and I liked it.
Poor but honest citizens, innocent as newborn lamb.
Button your lip, Fatty.
Yes, sir.
In town, they're saying you got a lot of loot hid out here somewhere.
Why, that's just a pack of lies, gentlemen. Ain't a grain of truth to it. I ain't of no consequence whatsoever to no one. I'm just a poor old desert rat. Gentlemen, I'm so poor I ain't even got $1 in my Levi's. He never gave me nothing.
Anthony Stephens, yeah. You see, he had a big following, apparently, I was told he had a very big following in Turkey and Greece and in the Philippines, everywhere. He wasn't that big in Europe, but he they made money with his films because he had that kind of following in other countries, which I would really think he's one of the. I mean, if you look at the big stars, you talk about, you know, the boss, the good-looking guys. You talk about Gemma, definitely Franco. Then you got Gianni Garco. Then you got Anthony Stephens, and probably then maybe Peter Lee Lawrence, and but they're already in a different league again. But these were the top guys, I believe. But I mean, Gemma and Franco right at the top. And of course, later, I never worked with Terence Hill, very big, but I never worked with him. You see, my last film with Aldo Sombrell, I did in 2003 in Malaga. He is a good man, but you always have to remember when you go out with Aldo Sombrell that he has a tendency to forget his money. So you always end up paying, but it's in such a charming way that you know you can't be mad about it, because he's just wonderful, and he's a wide open man who embraces you and loves you, and it's just wonderful. But again, I have to say, you know, we were in 2003. I had the much bigger part than he had, and when I go back to, for instance, Sam Wanamaker's Catlow or the other films, you know, he had a certain status. He was a big actor at the time. I think he was, apart from Eduardo Fajardo, Fernando Sancho, I think Aldo Sombrell is definitely number 3. It was forbidden, of course, in every country for a couple of years, and it was cold. It was a snow western. It was filmed close to Andorra, and I remember so vivid. Even when our lunch came, the lunch was frozen on the plate. It was just unbelievable. The conditions were harsh, difficult. I hope if we do the remake, it will be a bit more comfortable. But it is cold, and it was hard working, I can assure you.
Big Red got bit by a bug. The man's crazy. It's gold, Pa.
The sergeant was right. They really tricked us.
Give it here. There ain't no one tricks old man Buddy.
I like the film. I have it at home. I saw it 2 weeks ago again, you see. And I like the actors in there. I have to say, I have a great admiration for Robert Hunda because, again, not one of the big guys, but a solid, good actor, actually. And I liked him always. And Romero Marchand, fabulous. A father figure, absolutely. He's still alive. He's in his 90s. I know this as a fact because through Carlos Aguilar. But it was hard working. You see, I tell you one thing. If I'm on the remake, which I am, the director told me, I want to tell you one thing. I want to be dead in the first week. It's just too cold for me. Well, that was the Eugenio Martin, and I only remember. First of all, I had a good relation with Telly Savalas. It wasn't the only film I worked with, and I sometimes went over to the hotel in the evenings. The only thing about the film, the actual acting, was that I was killed by an extreme blow from Telly Savalas with a frying pan straight in my face. I tell you what, there's something has to be said. I have worked in 141 film productions and TV productions now, and I must have died in about 100. You name it, I've done it. I'm dead, you see. Yes. I have to say, God bless him. He's still alive, but I thought Ron Ailey was a man I would honestly never like to see again. I just thought he was not a very nice man. And it was a German film, actually. There was not much Italian money in it. It was filmed in Rome. I went to Rome, stayed there quite nicely. But he might be very good at actions and throwing people around, and the way he threw me around, I just couldn't believe it, you see. No, I don't have many. God bless him. Yes, there's quite a few things to be said about it. It is done by a very serious German director, Volker Vogler, written by Ulf Mir, who became a film director himself, and who hired me because of my participation in Yankee Doodle. I did a film then in Germany, my first film in a principal part, and he died sadly enough. But this was maybe an overlooked Western. I don't think people don't know much about it, and but he had that fabulous cameraman, Luis Cuadrado, who was the best one. He had the Spanish co-production, who do normally only art films. They're very. I think it probably was more like an art film than a Western. It was a sophisticated story about 4 guys or 5 guys from Bavaria going over there and trying to make it. I don't think it worked out very well. There was no success in Germany. Now there you have a film, Potato Fritz, which was directed by Peter Schamoni with Hardy Krüger and of course Steve Boyd. I think it was his last film. I'm not too sure. Anton Diffring was in it, who is known as the ever nasty SS officer, and a good German cast. It was well financed. There was money enough, and we went to Madrid. We had Paul Breitner in it, who was actually a gifted footballer, and that was the best thing about all the film. We could go every weekend to the Real Madrid games and watched him play. Otherwise, it was very comfortable, very easy, and I liked it.
What's all this about?
A strange-looking Indian tried to kill me this morning.
Honest, I spent the whole day with Wood and Sleeve.
I didn't see his face none, but I wounded him in the left arm.
Lock him up. Lieutenant, out!
He didn't look well. He did not look well. That can be said. And I really thought, you know, such an actor with such a CV of outstanding films, and I thought he shouldn't be in there, really, you know. And then, of course, Hardy Krüger, he's difficult, but basically nice man, you know, very German, you know, very precise. Everything has to be right, but he has earned it. He has, you know, he's been in some very, very good films.
See what Sven is coming down.
I thought it was very, very silly. I think that that's a film. I have one wonderful scene with Eli Wallach. I don't know if it's in this one or in the other one with the Sari film, when there's a bridge and I lead him to the bridge and we have a dialogue there, and he then falls down into a car. I think, well, they were both funny.
Hey, Blackjack, seeing as how you're a sheriff, there's going to be a lawful accident. Right, Comanchero? Right!
But even so, it was my third film with Giuliano Gemma. I think we never changed a word. We said good morning, goodbye. That was it. Well, that was the time. You see, sometimes I regret that I haven't been born 3 years earlier, because I probably would have managed to be in one Leone film. I would have liked to be in the more serious films, because I think maybe the last one actually was Enzo Castellari. You see, which was another Cry Onion, where I played that, you know, the kind of gay two sheriffs. Very nice parts, very, very nice. Big money production, great Sterling Hayden, another of these incredible, fantastic actors. He said, you should go to Bertolucci, Bernardo Bertolucci. I just worked with him on 1901 or whatever the film was called. I give you a letter and they will take you straight to him. I went to Rome a couple of weeks later and I saw Bernardo Bertolucci without any problems. I had that letter and he had time for me. And he said, I'm so sorry, he said, the film is casted. But it was just wonderful how he did it, you see. Martin Balsam, wonderful. Dick Butkus, who's a football player. Who else was in it? Franco Nero, of course. But it had a great cast.
Emma Cohen again from Cutlass.
Emma Cohen, yes. I like to meet her, actually. She's in her 60s now, too. You know, I'm 66. It's quite amazing. I probably think I'm the only actor who comes out of this time who is, apart from Clint Eastwood, of course, Franco Nero, I mean, from the secondary actors, I'm probably the only one who's still around working. You know, very possible. Well, and then in 1975, the Western actually died. It just stopped. It was over, finished, done. And I went back to Germany. I went to Rome first, and I met Tinto Brass, and I worked on that fabulous film, Salon Kitty. And then I had that great honor to work with Federico Fellini on his Casanova. Again, a gay couple together with the American actor Reginalda. And this was, I'm very proud of that. I'm really proud of this. Anyhow, thank you so much.
Beautiful, the light is coming down on me tonight. I know myself.